Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. We have a very interesting thing to talk about. Vice President Biden has not had a press conference in over a month. This is a great article in Fox. Presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden has gone 33 days without a news conference, and critics have taken notice, with one media watchdog comparing him to a famously silent game show sidekick. Biden held a virtual news briefing on April 2nd. Okay? Is there anyone on the planet who thinks that Biden wants to be asked questions? Is there anyone on the planet that thinks that Biden can answer these questions? Biden held a virtual news briefing on April 2nd, fielding questions from a variety of reporters while hunkered down in his Delaware home amid the pandemic. Over the past month, Biden has given individual interviews, held fundraisers and town halls, and made other appearances, but he hasn't been peppered with questions from reporters during any type of briefing or gaggle. They protect their own side. They protect they're not. There are very few journalists in the country. If you're an opinion, if you're a columnist, or if you're a pundit and you hold an opinion, that's fine. I could be viewed as that. If you're a journalist that has an opinion and writes columns and you're a columnist, then that's great. I fall into that category. When the Huffington Post, The Hill as a contributor, Salon, The Federalist, The Jerusalem Post, The Times of Israel, The Daily Caller, when these publications published me, the Cleveland Plain Dealer, I was a columnist. And I gave an opinion as a journalist. You can do that. But I never said I was this objective reporter. I wrote opinionated columns with a viewpoint. Luke St. Martin, Eric H526, hello. Hello, everyone. To my super chat, thank you. Especially in these tough times, if you want to support my voice, I appreciate it. But the White House press corps is supposed to be composed of just journalists trying to find the truth. Where are the people trying to find the truth on the campaign pertaining to Biden? Now, he hasn't had a press briefing because he doesn't want to answer questions about Tara Reade. He doesn't want to answer questions because he can't answer questions. What is he going to say? Oh, I didn't do it. Okay. Well, that's what President Trump has stated. That's what Kavanaugh has stated. But now they fall back and they say, well, there's 25. There's 25 people. Yeah, but how many people have actually accused President Trump of doing what Biden did? How many of those people who accused President Trump went to the police and filed a police report? What is Biden going to say about the police report? Why hasn't he been asked questions about the Larry King Live call-in? Stephanie Parker! You really do have hair. Looking good, AJ. Stephanie Parker! Yes, I do. I'm about to look like a hippie very soon if LA hair salons or barbershops don't open up. I actually had to cut just around here because it was like going over my ears. Stephanie Parker, thank you. Yeah, I need to get a haircut. I might not go straight with the bald look anymore. I might try to do something with my hair. And then if I don't like it, eventually I'll just go back to being bald. Stephanie Parker, thank you. The Biden camp is hoping to employ the Vanna White effect, in which you say little and let the audience project onto you as a favorable impression. But this strategy will be less effective for a national political candidate and for a game show hostess. DePauw University professor, media critic. Okay, so over the past month, the former vice president has appeared on ABC's This Week, NBC's Today, CBS's Late Show, with James Corden and spoke to CNN's Anderson Cooper. It's this public relations apparatus around him. If this were a Republican, all you would hear is, oh my God, the man is vile. Do you realize, ladies and gentlemen, how duplicitous and disingenuous and hypocritical Democrats are? The majority of Democrats believe, or I should say around half of Democrats believe that he is guilty of doing what he's accused of doing. And they still are voting for him. It is different, ladies and gentlemen, look, I have a constant value system, even though people on the left who want to disparage me say, oh, he just became a Trump supporter because, it was more lucrative. Yes, the MAGA hat is lucrative. I'm selling so much Make America Great Again merch. I have, a Ferrari and 2 mansions and a helicopter and a Learjet because everyone's just buying Make America Great Again merchandise. The lucrative, first of all, the most lucrative is to parrot whatever the mainstream media says, and then you instantly get hundreds of thousands of followers. When I became a Trump supporter, people were horrified on the left, a lot of them. And it didn't really lose me anybody. It didn't lose me any of my base, really, my left-leaning base. Maybe the left-leaning base that didn't watch me already had already left. Mark Skog! Tell your cousin I'm looking for him. Just kidding. Great work, buddy. Mark, thank you. Oh, my goodness. Everyone, I have a Bizarro World segment that Mark and a lot of people saw. Check it out. Mark Skog, thank you so very, very much. So, Bizarro World, I have the most risque segment. And so check that out. That is going to be below in the description. I'll put that in the description right now. in the pinned comment. But Bizarro World Goodman is my alter ego. So check that out. And it's me yelling and screeching at the top of my lungs, telling you that you have no right to vote for Trump, and how dare you? And if you vote for Trump, it's really horrible. And just I'm yelling and screaming at the top of my lungs. Also, check out H.A. Goodman's other channel. And so those are my 2 other channels that will hopefully do quite well when all of this plays out exactly the way I've been saying. Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee. Why? So Mark Skog, thank you so very much on the kind words regarding Bizarro World Goodman. Clinton could become vice president. I'm not saying she will. I don't think that she would accept second fiddle ever. But now I'm thinking she could become vice president and then just become nominee through that. Biden could pick a vice president, and it could be Kamala Harris, or it could be Stacey Abrams. It could be Elizabeth Warren, although that's not looking too likely. It could be Amy Klobuchar. I think he might actually pick Amy Klobuchar. But it really doesn't matter who he picks. If it's Clinton, whatever she needs to do to become nominee, she will do. And people are voting. Democrats have been polled, and they're voting for Biden, even though they believe he's guilty. In the New York Times today, there's an article. I believe Tara Reid. I'm still voting for Biden. They don't care. My moral compass is the following: if President Trump got us into another, endless conflict in Afghanistan, he's actually ending that longest-running military conflict. Ending that. So he's doing the opposite of what Democrats would do. Mark Skog, thank you again, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Stephanie. But if President Trump engaged in a NATO intervention that obliterated a country like Libya, I would then say, you know what? I'm just gonna observe all of this and critique Trump for what he did, and he would lose my support. But President Obama actually destroyed a country in Africa North Africa. And nobody said anything. In fact, it was viewed as, well, he tried. Excuse me, this was a NATO intervention led by the United States of America against a country that we essentially obliterated a country to try to help its citizens. Since then, we have not helped its citizens, and we have not saved lives. And since then, more lives have been lost had we not done anything. And there are the most horrendous atrocities that have taken place there. And that points to Biden and Clinton and President Obama. Nothing Trump has done, no tweet, no policy has been as horrendous as that. If you want to talk about domestic policies, they say, well, the cages, well, they were built under President Obama. So you can look, the Democrats, when they're in the Oval Office, whether it's Bill Clinton or anyone else, when Democrats are in the Oval Office, they get away with everything because the media shields them. Now, the media kind of, you know what? Bill Clinton was the last Democrat that the media went after. President Obama did not, the conservative media, yes. And President Obama did have to deal with, he had to deal with initially, he initially had to deal with racism, maybe his first couple of years. But after his second term, the media just rallied around the president, and nothing that took place, even towards the end of his first term, nothing that took place was attributed to President Obama, whether it was Standing Rock or Flint or a failed NATO intervention. Oh, that happened in the beginning towards the beginning. But with Trump, anything that takes place in his administration, the media you've never seen a more negative, more rabid, more, that they're just after him. It's not about the truth. They're just after Trump. They want an end to the Trump presidency. It's not about reporting anymore. It's about they want an end to the Trump presidency. That's it. They don't want, for example, President Obama had a scandal with Secret Service agents who failed to who reimburse or pay. How do I say this delicately on the YouTube live stream? People who perform certain types of services in the evening that shall remain nameless. So these individuals were not paid. Okay, this happened during a Democrat in the Oval Office, and nothing was attributed to the president at that point. But if it was Trump, oh my God, the immorality! Oh my God, could you imagine? So, with Flint water, he drank Flint water. Could you imagine if Trump drank Flint water? So now they're doing the same thing with Biden. They're covering up Biden because at the end of the day, both Clintons run the show. The Democratic Party is not going to go with anyone else. They just need some kind of plausible excuse. They don't even need to work hard. Democrats are going to vote they're the ones who said you don't need evidence. They literally came up with this new concept of criminal justice. You don't need evidence. If you're just accused, that's enough. They're the ones who came up with this. They're the ones who created this world that if you are accused, you must step down. And that's it. And that's one of the reasons Al Franken stepped down. And Eric Schneiderman. And a bunch of these people. Justin Fairfax hasn't. Keith Ellison hasn't. Obviously, Biden hasn't. Ralph Northam was a different issue, racism. But he's still there. So they don't have a value system. They live to condemn and judge. And as they do their own side first. They condemn and judge other liberals and progressives first, and then they go after conservatives. But at that point, conservatives don't even care. Trump supporters, I know people that I've known for my whole life. And, a couple of them said to me, the usual, how dare you, how could you? I'm like, in my head, I eventually tell them, why would you assume that I would care about your condemnation? When people say, how dare you vote for Trump, how could you? There's obviously a reason. When somebody says, how could you have voted for, how dare you vote for Trump? How could you possibly vote for Trump? They're expressing their own ignorance. Because it's a question that's supposed to be rhetorical. Like, they want an answer like, well, there's no reason at all. I've lost my mind and I'm a horrible human being. They're not going to get that answer. So when you give them an answer, they shut down and they can't accept it because there are facts and there's a reality of a rebuttal that they can't accept. They cannot accept the rebuttals you give them because they live in their own world. They are literally voting. There are people who think that Biden's going to be nominated. First of all, Biden's the most horrendous candidate of all time. So that alone, the fact that people even think that Biden's going to be nominee, that's already like an amazing illusion that was pulled off. But the fact that people think he's going to be nominee is already an illusion. But the fact that you're going to get people to say, okay, our value system was if you believe, just from an accusation. Never asked for evidence with Trump. Never asked for evidence with Kavanaugh. Then when you bring that up, when you say, well, wait a second, the only person you take Trump, Kavanaugh, and Biden. The only person that has a criminal police report is Biden. The only person that has corroborating call-in in 1993 is Biden. And then the rebuttal is, well, that doesn't show that there was the assault. No, but it shows that there was an issue. So you can't say the whole thing's made up. You can't say the whole thing's made up because in 1993, Tara Reade's mother didn't look into the future 30 years and say, oh, yeah, this man's going to eventually run for president, so this call-in will be used when he runs for president. So you have to look. What they do is they are amazing at breaking the will and the spirit of their voters. They're like if you're a fan of a football team, remember those like Cleveland fans, and they used to put like paper bags on their head and just cut out eye sockets, and then the joke was like, I don't even want to be known as the fan of my team. They're very good at breaking the will and breaking the spirit to make everything morally relative. So in the 90s, they had to bend their value system and vote for Bill Clinton. And now they have to tear up and bend and cut apart and just mangle their alleged value system yet again and say, well, I believe Biden, but I'm still voting for him. So then you have no value system. I'm not going to vote for Trump if he does what President Obama did in Libya. I'm not going to vote for Trump if he has the same foreign policy as Max Boot and Bill Kristol. I'm not going to. But I know that he doesn't. He's the first president to step foot in North Korea, to begin détente between North and South Korea. That's a huge thing. If there's anybody on the planet that says, oh, it's not that big of a deal, then they're lost within the Democratic Party nonsense. So, the issue is Biden is there only as a placeholder. That's it. To pave the way, to make Clinton look like palatable and reasonable. It takes a Biden. It takes 3 years. It takes 3 years of setting up Trump and to get Democrats into a zone where they'll accept anything. Florida Man Bear! Come on, man. You know the deal, man. You know the deal. Come on, Florida Man Bear. Come on. Florida Man Bear. Thank you. You know the deal. You know the deal. Florida Man Bear. On what planet would Biden be a candidate that could work? On what planet could Biden be a candidate that could actually win the election? They would lose the Electoral College. Okay, they say he's up nationally. He's up nationally by 4 points, and we're 7 months away? 6 months away from the election. 4 points. The margin of error is usually 3 points, 2.5, 3 points. He's almost within the margin of error now. At this point, Clinton had 20-point leads, 15, 16-point leads. Democrats always lose their polling leads. Why? Because media is always in the tank. And when you get people to answer questions, by and large, they will have been influenced in some manner by the entire media. So you're looking, ladies and gentlemen, at, if it's 4 points now, President Trump's up by 5 or 6 points at election time. And Biden does not. First of all, Trump wins independence by a wide margin over Biden. Biden does not energize anyone. There is not one. The only reason that he got a lot of votes in the Democratic primary is because Democrats have utter contempt for Bernie Sanders. They despise Bernie Sanders. Democrats despise Bernie Sanders. And that's not hyperbole. People voted in the rain in Wisconsin just to ensure they wouldn't get Medicare for all. Nobody in the Democratic Party believes Medicare for all is feasible, and Bernie has done nothing to further the notion that it's feasible. Aside from yell, and aside from these tweets where, unfortunately, now we have 30 million people unemployed. So we don't have to get into why. It wasn't because of altruistic reasons. None of this. You want to save lives? Ban alcohol, ban smoking, and also look at the people whose lives have been lost by the flu in years past. 80,000 in 2018, 56,000 in 2015, 116,000 under LBJ 1 year, 102,000 under Eisenhower 1 year. You can look at the stats. And did we tank the economy? So that's a question to ask. But you have this Florida Man Bear. Thank you. Clinton is waiting because she knows that the whole thing was rigged. I will have made the biggest political call of all time, and I did a lot of work not only on this channel but H.A. Goodman's other channel. There were moments where Clinton actually stated, "Well, I know who's going to be the nominee. We can, you know what? Let's watch. Let's watch." Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you know what? Now we get into a situation where okay, listen to this, people. I know you wanted to hear Madam Secretary's the soulful sounds of Madam Secretary Hillary Clinton. The beautiful, soulful sounds. What could be better? I go to bed at night listening to this. I'm not joking. Okay. I did a lot of work on this segment on H.A. Goodman's other channel. Check it out.
Comparison between the Republican Party that never produced a bill in Congress to replace what they were trying to repeal and has stood behind an effort to eliminate it altogether. And there goes health care for millions of Americans. And it is striking to me that, yeah, we're having a debate on our side of the political ledger, but it's a debate about the right issue. How do we get to health care coverage for everybody that we can afford?
Now, I want you to pay attention to this, because I'm not going out of my mind. And I'm the only person on the planet that has done the research, that has evaluated the statements, the intent, deciphered the intent, the motivation from a very honest and beautiful human being, Madam Secretary. Check it out. Now listen to everything that is being said right now. The question and the answer. Listen.
And it is striking to me that, yeah, we're having a debate on our side of the political ledger, but it's a debate about the right issue. How do we get to health care coverage for everybody that we can afford?
Will you support whoever the candidate is on the Democratic side?
Yeah, sure.
100%.
Yeah, because I think I know who they're likely to be.
Who are they? Who do you think it's going to be?
I'm not going to go that. I'm not going to go there.
I think I know who the candidate's likely going to be. You think that she's referring to Biden? Check this out again.
Who do you think it's?
Yeah, sure.
100%.
Me that, yeah, we're having a debate on our side of the political ledger, but it's a debate about the right issue. How do we get to health care coverage for everybody that we can afford?
Will you support whoever the candidate is on the Democratic side?
Yeah, sure.
100%.
Yeah, because I think I know who they're likely to be.
Who are they? Who do you think it's going to be?
I'm not going to go that. I'm not going to go there.
Brian Morrow, thank you, Brian. Brian Morrow, thank you. So I think, will you support whoever the Democratic nominee is going to be? Yes. Only because the caveat only is because I think I know who it's going to be. Not because I'm a good Democrat and I am not megalomaniacal and narcissistic and egotistical enough to only support somebody. I'm not megalomaniacal enough to only support somebody because that somebody would be me. That's not the way that the Clintons operate. That is not what she stated. She stated very clearly, I am not going to support anyone. I will only support the person that's nominee because you can look at Hillary Clinton speaks at New York Deal Book Conference, November 6, 2019, CNBC television. She literally stated this, and there are a lot more on H.A. Goodman's other channel, because I did a lot of work on H.A. Goodman's other channel, almost 15,000 subs on this. That's below in the pinned comment. Agent Pepsi 1! H.A., my favorite ranter. I feel sorry for Biden. Thank you, Agent Pepsi 1. I feel sorry for Biden because he doesn't realize he will be thrown under the bus by the DNC and he will not survive it. You know, Agent Pepsi 1. Thank you for the kind words. I think Biden's in on it. I think that he knows. Agent Pepsi 1, thank you as always for watching. Brian Morrow, thank you again. Agent Pepsi 1, I think that he knows that he is an integral part. He's an important, very important part of the charade. He's an important part of the charade. He knows this. He knows that without him, but they also have a lot on him. Burisma was an obvious corruption with Burisma. If the tables were turned, they would never let Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr. or Jared Kushner get away with anything. It would never, ever happen. They would never, ever let President Trump, anyone around him get away with what Biden was able to get away with. You can't fire a prosecutor under the guise of, battling corruption, while at the same time having your son on the board of directors of a corrupt energy corporation in the country you're supposed to be policing, or supposed to be, looking over. Or you're the point person, sorry. Democrats always come up with smart power and point person, and they always come up with these great terms because they're so cutting edge. But listen to Hillary again.
To health care coverage for everybody that we can afford.
Will you support whoever the candidate is?
Will you support whoever the candidate is? Okay, we got to break this down and savor it like a fine wine. James Shea! James Shea! Did you see Hannity said tomorrow's a bad day? I didn't. I have to check that out. Thank you, James. Thank you. Check it out. So Andrew Ross Sorkin says, will you support the candidate? And then she says,
on the Democratic side?
Yeah, sure.
100%.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Sure. Yeah, sure. 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 100%, and then she's like,
yeah, because.
Yeah, only because what?
I think I know who they're likely to be.
I would only support the candidate because you know what? He asked the question in a way that she couldn't get out of it. So she's like, yeah, only because of this.
Who are they? Who do you think it's going to be?
I'm not going to go that. I'm not going to go there.
So hold on.
We're having a debate on our side of the political ledger. But it's a debate about the right issue. How do we get to health care coverage for everybody that we can afford?
Will you support whoever the candidate is on the Democratic side?
Yeah, sure.
100%.
Yeah, because I think I know who they're likely to be.
Why would she know who they're likely to be in November of 2019? That's a month before Iowa. Does anybody ask that question? Has anybody asked that question? Why would Clinton know who they're likely to be in November? This was a November interview. Why would Clinton know in November? Brian, very kind of you. Brian, thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Why would Clinton know in November? Why would Clinton know in November? Can anybody answer that question? Why would she? I want somebody to answer that question. Why would she know in November? How does she know? This is a November 6, 2019. Check it out.
We're having a debate on our side of the political ledger. But it's a debate about the right issue. How do we get to health care coverage for everybody that we can afford?
Will you support whoever the candidate is on the Democratic side?
Yeah, sure.
100%.
Yeah, because I think I know who they're likely to be.
It's November. She qualifies the statement, I would only support the candidate because I know who they're likely to be. Not because it's the best Democrat, not because the best person for the country, not because, we need to defeat Trump, just because I know who they're going to be. Because I know who they're going to be. Because it's going to be me.
Who are they? Who do you think it's going to be?
I'm not going to go that. I'm not going to go there.
And then you get like the same nervous laughter you would get if an authoritarian like had made some kind of joke where everyone's like, don't be the last person not laughing. The real authoritarians are on the Democratic Party side, not Trump. let's put it this way. Authoritarians don't have a media that every 2 seconds is trying to tear them down. My God almighty. You know, they don't. If you're an authoritarian, you don't have, you know, the intelligence agencies. You run the intelligence agencies, and you run the media if you're an authoritarian. This is hilarious. They're like, he's a despot. Well, how could he be a despot? How could he be a despot if he's if there's a media apparatus, an intelligence community, you have Hollywood. It's like Evan K. Not sure the world is ready, but we need to see H.A. Badman versus B.W. Good. You know what? One of these days, absolutely. I totally would. I need to do that, actually. I should do something like that. Thank you. So it would be me versus Bizarro World, my cousin. Zoot Suit, hello. It would be me versus Bizarro World. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Thank you, Evan K. Thank you. Evan K, thank you. Ken Palmer. Shout out to Robin S. Please, love you, H.A. Robin S, hello. Hello, Robin. Thank you for watching, Ken and Robin. Thank you. Evan K, thank you so very, very much. I'm glad you enjoy it. And I have to do something like that. I definitely have to do something like that. But you have, like, ladies and gentlemen, they're literally going against their value system because they have to vote. They have to for Clinton. So they've already paved the way. People have acted and done things in a manner that they never thought they would. But as we get closer to November, Democrats will twist themselves even more so into pretzels, mental gymnastics that you've never seen before. Nadia Comaneci is nothing compared to what they'll be able to do from a mental gymnastics point of view. They are only going to get even more, their alleged value system is only going to be even more compromised. Okay? Even more compromised. You look, ladies and gentlemen, at the outrage, the difference with the outrage, the yelling, the screeching, the pontificating, the condemnation, the judgment, and then they say, well, you know what, we're still going to vote for Biden, you know. But it's like what happened to all the what happened to this value system that they have, this alleged value system? Excuse me. Just allergies. Don't worry. Don't call SEAL Team 6. But you don't whenever it is when it's about political power and influence, they don't care. So Evan K, thank you so much. When it's about political power and influence, they don't care. And they don't care because they're only about winning. It's their side. They're like people who are like, oh my God, we can't take performance-enhancing drugs. Oh my God. And then when their team is almost at the Super Bowl, they're like, oh, that's fine. We'll just look away. Let's listen to this again.
To healthcare coverage for everybody that we can afford.
Will you support whoever the candidate is on the Democratic side?
Will you support whoever the candidate is on the Democratic side? Whoever the candidate is.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And then he pushes 100%. And now she's caught. Now there's no Clintonian deposition wiggle room. There's no what is the meaning of is. There's no nothing. 100% she wasn't expecting that. But she's comfortable and she's relaxed. And so she says the following.
100%.
Yeah, because I think I know who they're likely to be.
Because I think I know who they're likely to be. 100% only because I think I know who they're likely to be. It's in November of 2019. How does she know 100% who they're likely going to be? How does she know in November of 2019 who they're likely going to be? How is that even possible? I thought that Michael Bloomberg and Eric Swalwell had a chance. I thought Eric Swalwell was going to be president. I thought he was going to be president. I thought Eric Swalwell was going to be president. So, I mean, how does she know? Tommy O'Donovan, hello. How does she know? George Rivera Jr. What I find funny is that even during a Biden scripted interview, he still flubs up as he squints at the word flow. At the word flow. George Rivera Jr. That's right. Yeah, Biden's hilarious. Biden's like, oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, people now. Smell on your brother. Come on, people now, smell on your brother. Everybody get together. Huddle up close to one another. George Rivera Jr., you're 100% right. Or he's saying, come on, man, you know the deal, man. Come on, man. You know what's gonna like? It's not gonna be Biden versus Trump in the debates because that would be like a great white shark versus a tiny little goldfish. Biden being the goldfish. But George Rivera Jr., if it was, Trump would get him on something like Burisma or these allegations from Tara Reid or his track record. I mean, that's what people don't get. His track record is enough to just sink his campaign. But his rebuttal would be, come on, Trump. Oh, come on, man. Come on, Trump. Trump. And you know the deal, man. You know the deal, man. You want to get out and do some push-ups, Trump? You want to get in the octagon, Trump? Splashless, thank you. Come on, man. You want to do some push-ups, Trump? Trump. You know the deal, man. You know the deal.
And has stood behind an effort.
I listen to Madam Secretary's voice every night before I go to bed. It makes me sleep so well.
To eliminate it altogether. And there goes health care for millions of Americans. And it is striking to me that, yeah, we're having a debate on our side of the political ledger, but it's a debate about the right issue. How do we get to health care coverage for everybody that we can afford?
Will you support whoever the candidate is on the Democratic side?
Will you support whoever the candidate is? It's November 6, 2019. How on earth does she know who's going to be the candidate?
Yeah, sure.
100%.
Yeah, because I think I know who they're likely to be.
But wait, we haven't even had Iowa yet. It's a fair primary. We haven't even had that app that didn't work in Iowa. We didn't have Michael Bloomberg spending $1.2 billion in 3.5 months for a campaign he knew was going to lose. We didn't have Elizabeth Warren saying that Bernie Sanders said a woman couldn't win. All this nonsense. The whole thing was rigged. I will have made the biggest political call of all time, and I wrote my article before this admission on November 6, 2019. The whole thing was rigged. And the proof is Hillary Clinton speaks at New York Times Deal Book Conference, but that's not just, I talked about a lot of these little tidbits, these little gems of these kernels of knowledge on H.A. Goodman's other channel. So check that. There's one where Bill Clinton's like, I'm the only person not running for anything on this panel. Oh my goodness, I spilled the beans. Oh, oopsie. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I spilled the beans. I said I was the only person not running for anything. Oopsie. So,
who are they? Who do you think it's going to be?
I'm not going to go that. I'm not going to go there.
And then you hear this nervous laughter. So, it's right there, people. Come on, people now. Come on. George Rivera Jr. Yeah, I mean, that's, basically what's going on. Thank you, George Rivera Jr. Leo, hello. So, let's listen to this again. I know. But what you need to do is listen to Madam Secretary before you go to bed, and you sleep like a baby. It's such a soothing voice.
It's a debate about the right issue. How do we get to health care coverage for everybody that we can afford?
Will you support whoever the candidate is on the Democratic side?
Yeah, sure.
100%.
Yeah, because I think I know who they're likely to be.
Who are they? Who do you think
to health care coverage for everybody that we can afford.
Will you support whoever the candidate is on the Democratic side?
Yeah, sure.
100%.
Yeah, because I think I know who they're likely to be.
Who are they? Who do you think it's going to be?
I'm not going to go that. I'm not going to go there. Now, look, I think that we have to measure the risk to the country, and look, it won't surprise you to hear me say I think that another term of our current administration would be deeply damaging to our economy, to our society, to our standing in the world, whatever.
Everything's broad. This is broad, but it'd be bad because bad is bad. To our standing in the world, that's subjective. To our economy, well, guess who wants to open up the economy? Guess who wants to keep everything closed? Yeah, I wonder why. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. I will be back tonight. Be here about 10:30 p.m. Pacific. Be here, ladies and gentlemen. I might take a day off from Bizarro World Goodman and come back tomorrow strong. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. God bless to my super chat. Thank you, George Rivera Jr., everyone here. Thank you, Silver Florida Man Bear. Thank you, everybody. And the super chat, thank you. And be here, ladies and gentlemen, at around 10:30 or so. Thanks, everybody. God bless you. And subscribe to Bizarro World Goodman and to H.A. Goodman's other channel. And if you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below. Thanks, everybody.